Hey guys, so today we're going to be changing out a battery. Today I'm going to be going over the tips of changing a battery and things you can do to make sure you get a good mechanical connection when you get it back in, and some battery maintenance tips. So today's vehicle is a 93 Camry. It's already got an Interstate battery in it, and we're going to be putting in an Optima red top. So today we're going to be changing out the old Interstate for the new Optima. Interstates are really good batteries, but this is a traditional battery. Now this is a spiral cell battery. Now the main things that I like about this is, one, maintenance free. Here on these batteries you can check the water level. You have to maintain that. Here it's maintenance free, just drop it in, don't have to worry about it. The other nice thing about the Optimas are, one, they last 2 times longer, tend to have more cold cranking amps, and they can withstand a lot more vibration. And the cool thing is you can turn them sideways. It doesn't matter. Don't turn it upside down, but you can't do this with the traditional battery. So very good product in my mind. It's what I use in all my vehicles. So I'm not saying you have to use an Optima, but I like them because they don't corrode. They don't let out as much acid at all compared to this one. But if you're going to use a traditional battery, there's a couple of tricks you can use. I read this in a book and it seemed to kind of work. On the terminals, they get corroded. You've seen it on an older battery. Now what you can do is to help slow down the process is take a penny, the penny's copper, put maybe a little bit of silicone in the middle. That way the copper has contact with the battery, and now it's going to be attracted to the copper and slow down the process of the terminals connecting. So you see these terminals, this battery, we've had the vehicle for at least 5 years and probably longer, and this one's actually looking pretty good right now. So the first thing you want to do is you want to remove the battery hold down bar. So it's got 2 10 mils, already loosened it up a bit. And you want to remove this part first. So once you get the bolts out, just take the holder, just move it out of the way, and now we can loosen the negative and the positive terminal. Okay, so when you're taking out a battery, you want to make sure that you remove the negative first and then the positive. Ways you can tell it's the negative, one, it should be labeled, because sometimes on some vehicles these might be switched. They're different on Japanese and American vehicles. So to verify if this is negative, this wire will actually go to chassis, but we already know it because it's already labeled. So we're going to go ahead and loosen this. I got these fancy copper connectors on here, so I have to use an Allen key. Most vehicles would actually just use a wrench. You want to make sure you also wear eye protection and wear proper gloves. Okay, now I got the positive terminal loosened up, so we're going to take that off and we're going to remove the battery. A couple tips I want to tell you about the battery. Yes, again, wear protective hand gear. Wear a long sleeve too if you can. When you're taking the battery out, lift it up straight. There is acid here and it can leak, so you don't want to shift it from side to side. And when you dispose of your old battery, just bring it over to your local parts store or garage and they'll dispose of it properly for you. So here's our new battery. It's an Optima red top. The Optima red top is a starting battery, so it has more cold cranking amps compared to the other Optima batteries like the yellow top. It's been sitting on the shelf for a while at the parts store, so I decided to put it on our charger here, and that way it's going to have a nice good charge before I put it in the vehicle. Now, before you buy a battery, you want to see what the actual manufacturing date is. So this one was manufactured in October of 2011. So it's a pretty fresh battery. We've already put on the charges as you saw earlier, but you know, if you're going to buy a battery, try to buy the freshest battery you can. So before we install the battery, we're going to go ahead and clean the battery terminal. So get your battery terminal cleaner, put on there, just twist it on. You get a nice shiny connection. You're going to get a good mechanical connection on here afterwards. So since the Interstate batteries have been in this vehicle for at least 5 years, we're going to go ahead and clean out these brass terminals. And afterwards we're going to go ahead and clean the battery tray too. So as you can see here, I got the battery tray. I'm going to take this out right now. We're going to clean this out and we're going to go ahead and do an inspection. If the battery was leaking before, you want to make sure that it hasn't. If it has, it's going to corrode all the metal, so you don't want to hit that with some sort of rust check or rust inhibitor. It's looking really good, but we're going to go ahead and clean everything before we reinstall the battery. Now, before you get too hasty and put in your Optima, you can see there's definitely a height discrepancy here. Now, when you get your Optima battery, it actually comes with this adapter. So we're gonna have to put this adapter underneath the battery in order to get the height back. That way our battery hold down tray will actually hold it securely. Okay, so I've gone ahead and put in. Now this was originally on the top when I first got the battery. It just snaps in on the bottom. You can't get it wrong. And now you can see it's pretty much even. Now when you're going to rehook up the battery, you want to do it in the opposite order. So before I took the negative off first and then I took off the positive, now I'm going to put the positive on first and then I'm going to put on the negative. Alright, so I got the positive terminal on there now, so we just want to make sure and go ahead and give it a couple light tugs, make sure it doesn't want to twist and turn. This should not turn or rotate over this. It should be on there pretty snug and not be able to move. And we're going to hook up the negative terminal now. Now once you got your other terminal on, again, double check it, make sure it's on there tight, it's not going to move around, and we can go ahead and put down our battery holder and secure it. Once you got the battery holder right where you want it, go ahead and tighten down the nuts. Now some of you might be wondering why I put the battery on a charger before I actually installed it in the vehicle. Like, why didn't he just let the vehicle's alternator charge the vehicle itself? The reason being is the alternator is a maintenance device. So if you ever have to jump start the vehicle, or if you have a dead battery, let it use a charger. That's the best thing to do. Don't rely on your alternator to charge the battery, unless you want to replace your alternator pretty quick. These things, they're fairly robust, but they're not that robust to actually charge a battery from a deep cycle. Always use a charger to charge a dead battery. So for battery maintenance, I have two devices here. Now I have a shop charger here. So we can do a trickle charge, we can do a full-on charge if the battery's dead. You can pretty much jump start the vehicle off of this. This version's got an on-off switch obviously, and also a timer in case you just want to leave it alone. And the other example here I have is a trickle charger. Now you want to use a trickle charger if you're just storing the vehicle. So you hot rod guys or guys with their project cars, you want to hook this up to the battery because you might have a small draw, and this will maintain the battery over the season that you're not using your vehicle.